Hi everyone, I'm Mark Angier and I'm excited to introduce you to Cooked, a cooking app we built to solve the everyday struggles that keep people from cooking at home. Here's the thing, we've all been there. You want to cook at home, but you have no idea what to cook with all these random ingredients that are in your fridge. Or you find a recipe online, but it requires cooking equipment you just don't have. Or maybe you find a recipe on a blog post and you spend the next 10 minutes scrolling through all the fluff and advertisements just to find the actual recipe. It's frustrating. That's why we created Cooked. It's not just another recipe app, it's a personalized cooking assistant that understands your kitchen, your skill level, and your dietary needs. With Cooked, you get personalized recipe recommendations based on what you actually have at home. Our AI assistant can adapt any recipe in real time. You're gluten-free? That's no problem. You only have a certain ingredient? That's no problem either. We also have smart tips that teach you cooking vocabulary when you're in the recipe when you actually need it. An XP system that makes it feel like you're leveling up in a game, and a bites-style scrolling feed for when you're just looking for a little bit of inspiration. Plus, with our features like a shared grocery list, ingredient substitutions, and cooking lessons means that you're never just sitting at home thinking, what now? But you know what? Instead of me just telling you about it, let me show you how Cooked solves real problems that people face in the kitchen every day. Oh man, I can't wait to eat some takeout. Let's see what we got. Let's see what's on this app. Ooh. Some pizza, Chick-fil-A. Oh no. Man, what am I gonna do? I don't think I have any food in the fridge. Let's see what's in here. Now this is where Cooked comes into play. If you open up the Cooked app, head over to the search page and enter our AI assistant, we can select pantry mode and select some of the ingredients that we do have in our fridge. Once I have those selected, I'm gonna find some recipes and see which ones have a good match with the items that I have in my fridge. Now I don't have lemon, but I do have buttermilk. So I'm gonna click here, go into this recipe and see if I have these ingredients. In this case, I do, but what I'm gonna do is head back and enter into customize recipe. I'm gonna find the same buttermilk brine chicken that it just recommended me, and I'm gonna say, I want no gluten. I'll click apply now and I'll wait for this to load for a second. Now that it's done loading, we can see that we have a new recipe with instructions for how to make it gluten-free. This is just one of the many ways that we can utilize our AI assistant to customize recipes tailored exactly for us. All right, let's get cooking. This recipe said something about searing. Let me go look that up really quickly.
5 minutes later.
Oh my gosh, what's that smell? Here's what that same interaction would have looked like if you were using Cooked. We'll head into the recipe that we want to make. We can scroll down, and while we're reading through the recipes, we see a word that we don't know, we can click on it, get information about that word. In this case, searing. And now that I have your attention, let's go over some of the other rich features that the Cooked app has. So within any recipe page, we have the ability to like and leave a review on any recipe. Additionally, any of the ingredients that are linked with the recipe can be clicked on to see more information about those ingredients. Another cool thing we can do is click add to shopping list and add all of the items at once to one of our shopping lists. Down at the bottom, there's a button that says I made this. When you make a recipe, you can gain XP to kind of gamify your experience on our app and compete a little bit with your friends. If you click this book icon at the top of the page, you'll see a more card style instructions for that recipe. This might be easier for some people to read. And in addition to that, there's an icon for speakers that will read off the step to you. Heading back to our main feed, we can click the TV icon to head into our bites. This is where we get that Instagram style scrolling feed catered to our preferences. Within each bite, we can click into the specific recipe that's linked with that video. We'll head back to the home screen now and go to the search page. From here, we can look up any recipe we want, but it doesn't just have to be the name of a recipe. It can just be things like easy recipes. We're doing a vector database search, and so this will come up with things that might be easier to make, like a vegetarian casserole. We also have a filters menu if we want to filter down our results even more, or add specific ingredients to our search. Heading over across the bottom, we're now in our recipes. These are the recipes that I've posted. I can click into any of them and edit all their fields. I can also click the plus button in the top right if I want to post a new recipe. Moving along, we have our cooking lessons. This is a core part of our app because it helps users ease their way into cooking if they're a beginner. You can see some of these lessons are interactive, and that means that there's a hands-on aspect to that lesson. Now we can head across to the grocery list tab. Here we can see all of our grocery lists, we can create a new list, or we can join an existing list that someone may have shared with us. In this case, I'm going to create a new list and call it Sprouts. I'll head into my grocery list, add a new item. Now, what I can do is share this list, send it to anybody that I want. Another cool feature within a grocery list is clicking sort by aisle, which will categorize your items in your grocery list by sections in the store. Lastly, we're going to head into the profile tab. This is where we can see all the information about our profile, such as our profile picture, our bio, our tags, our connected social medias, followers, following, XP, all of those things. And as a final goodbye, I'm going to hand it off to my teammate Ethan to talk about our tech stack and some more of the technical details surrounding our project.
My name is Ethan, and I'm here today to talk about our tech stack. So right now, Cook supports web and mobile, including Android and iOS. And when we set out the gate for this project, we wanted to support all three of those platforms. And so we set out to try and find a way to simplify this process. And because of that, we chose to use React Native with the Expo framework. What the Expo framework allows us to do is compile all of our code into web and mobile and Android and iOS, all separate things, from one code base. So instead of having to maybe create 3 different builds or 3 different projects just for each platform, we can do all of our code in one place, and Expo can actually compile all of those platforms with minimal changes needed. We use Native Wind for our styling, which is just Tailwind for React Native. And then we use TypeScript in conjunction with React Native. For our database, we chose to use Firebase, which has just been perfect so far, no complaints. And then through our Firebase database, we integrate with the ChatGPT API. We use this to power some of our AI features like pantry mode and flavor pairings, as well as our chatbot chef in the Cooked application. And then we also use Fast API, which is how we integrate with Pinecone, which is our vector database. And that vector database allows us, one, to do some of those things that we were talking about earlier with the ChatGPT API, like flavor pairings and pantry mode. But it also does things like improve our search, because now instead of having to search for the exact term of a recipe, it will simply get something that's closest in the vector database. So you could type in something like cocktails, and you could get something like gin and tonics, old-fashioned, other things like that. And it's been very useful. Besides that, that's about it for the tech stack.
No, that's it. That's our app. We're aiming to make it a lot easier, more social, and more personalized to start your cooking journey.